Hey everyone, you're listening to the Facebook Live Mindful Experiment podcast that we do each Tuesday at 7 in the morning Central Time. So, what an amazing time. If you're live, thanks for being on. This is an exciting time as this topic of what I want to talk about, I'm very, very passionate about when it comes to the importance of having a vision. Why is it important to have a vision in your life? And we're going to dive deep into it as we discuss the importance of it. And I'm going to get into some science today just to share a little bit of why I'm such a huge advocate for, understanding vision and having a vision, how to have multiple visions in your life. Because truly in life, a lot of times, depending who you follow, a lot of people get focused on goals and how you have to have certain goals and the goals you want to achieve and X, Y, Z and all these things. And I'm not against goals or anything like that. I'm actually an individual. I'm a type A personality individual who's really, 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 really big about goals and achieving them, task oriented, right? And it's one of those things that where this type of process has not worked out really, really well for me because it brought up some negative self-talk. It brought up some of those things within me that made me feel not worthy enough, not have my self-esteem, and all these different variables. And it wasn't until I got to the point where I started to understand the science behind vision, understand the principles of why vision is so important and why we all should have vision. All of a sudden my life transformed, and it brought to a level to of less. I was more calm, I was more focused, I didn't get bothered by fault things that I didn't achieve on the short end, short-term type of things, situations that came up, and so much more. I kept my eyes on the vision at all times. And that's the beauty of vision. So the way I break down vision and the way I teach this in my online courses and I do it in one-on-one coachings and all those things that we do, the big thing first is you have to have a crystal vision of your life, right? You have to have a vision of what you live by. What is the thing you want people to remember you as? If you can create a theme of your life, that's kind of like your vision. Sometimes you can think of it as, what is the legacy you want people to remember you as? How do you want to be remembered? There are some people who do things like the eulogy. If you're going to have your own eulogy, how is it that you want people to say and share that eulogy with you? I mean, there's so many different variables when it comes to this. So you can get very, very creative in this process because it's your vision. And that's the beauty behind all this. So it's first you have to come to that level and understand what is your grand scheme and vision. What is the things that you want to see? Now, the reason why vision is so critical is because you can't experience things in your physical reality without seeing it in the mind's eye. You have to have it from thought first and be able to know in your mind what you want to see. When you can see within your mind what it is you desire, the reality becomes a lot easier, right? And the thing is, it keeps you focused too. So that no matter what happens in your life, whatever shows up, whatever interferences you experience, you're not going to be so bothered by it. It's not going to take you off course. It's going to keep you centered. And the prime example of someone who does this is Elon Musk, right? Now, he's been getting bashed in the last year of production failures and battery issues and not being able to produce enough and get to the level, and everyone's doubting and throwing all these things to him. And he's had shortcomings. He's had to take his company from public to non-public. He had to, fire, release staff, change things around. He's had a lot of senior executives and so forth leave. I mean, there's so many things that have been going on that most people would have just be like, man, forget that. But Elon Musk, I remember in an interview, he just said, it's going to happen. You guys are looking at things at the short term, but we have a long-term vision. We will get there. Yeah, it may not happen right now, but as long as we continue to do the work, we'll get there. These are just bumps along the road. And I was fascinated with that because think about that. He just said they're bumps along the road. Now, does he get stressed out? Of course he does. Does he get affected by things? Of course, he's human. It's going to happen. But when you have this vision, This is what allows you not to be interfered as much. This is what allows you to stay centered. And when you're more centered and tuned with yourself, the more you can align to the reality of what you want to experience. And when you're aligned to the reality of what you experience, it is impossible. Again, impossible for you to not experience it because you've aligned yourself and now you've created that experience for you. So when you look at your life, okay, if you get one thing out of this episode, the biggest thing that I want you to grasp is going to be, how do you create a vision for you? Okay? What is the main vision of your life? What is it that you want to be remembered as? If you were going to be dying in a year, what are the things that you would want to do that people could remember you for? What are the things you want to give to the world? I think vision is the most critical thing when it comes to life because it sets the stage of how you want to see things or where you want to go. It really allows for you to create that moment to where you allow for, you dictate to the universe what it is you really want. And you keep sharing that with the universe. And the more you share your vision with the universe, the more you give it a crystal clear picture. Because another reason why I love vision so much is because the universe communicates in images. It's actually energy, but it communicates. When you have an image, there's an energy to it, and you put the energy on that. And so that's why images and visualization is so powerful. There's so much science coming through that it's sharing that when you have that type of an vision within you that you're crystal clear with, then the universe can provide to you and create alignment with you to help you achieve that into your physical reality. But you have to see, if there's one rule that you have to follow, is that whatever you see in your mind's eye is what you see with your eyes. And so it's that whole thing about whatever you're going to be able to see within is what you're going to eventually experience without. And I've seen this happen hundreds of times in my life. Seeing something or seeing an experience that I wanted to experience in a certain way, seeing how it would go, and just crystal clear focus, and it would happen. Now, there may be some variations along the way, but the overall, it's kind of like I asked the universe for a fruit. I wanted to experience orange. That's what I kept wanting to experience. It gave me apple, but at the end of the day, I still got fruit. And so you want to be that crystal clear with this vision and knowing it. And clarity comes from simplicity, right? When you first start with your vision, it's like, oh my God, what do I do? What do I want? And it's so many things are going through your head. And that's okay. That's normal. But as you do the work, you eventually want to get crystal clear. And the only way you can be crystal clear is when you can be very simple with your vision. And I always challenge people. Share your vision in 30 seconds to 60 seconds. If you cannot do it in that time frame, your life's vision in that time frame, there's too much into it. You're not crystal clear with it. Or write it in a paragraph, right? And I've gotten so, working on this for over 12 years, I've gotten so sharp with it that I can literally put my vision in one sentence. It's about 16 to 20 words, but I can get about 20 words. I'll maybe go to 25. But it's in one sentence. Maybe a run-on sentence, but it's one sentence. But I've done the work to do that because I needed to be crystal clear in what it is I do. Because once I was crystal clear with the vision I wanted to have for my life, the things that I wanted people to remember me as, everything, and I mean everything in my life, if it's not aligned to the main vision, I don't do it. Because that's where incongruencies come in. And whenever you have incongruency, that becomes a distraction. And when you create those types of distractions, those are the dream killers. Those are the things that don't allow you to achieve what it is that you truly desire. And it makes it harder and harder for you to do that. So that is why I'm very critical about vision. Now, with a vision, you can set goals. With a vision, you can do all that. Goals are not bad, don't get me wrong. But if you look at it from a left brain, right brain perspective, goals are created by you at a certain time frame to achieve. That's a left brain. It's ego that's compartmentalizing things. Right brain is, what do you want to achieve? What do you want to experience? Do the work. You'll eventually get there. Don't worry about the time because divine timing plays a role. And I've said this many times that you don't experience what you desire in life when you're not ready for it. Divine timing comes into play. When you're ready to experience it, it will show up in your life. The only thing you have to focus on is doing the consistent work every day. You got to make sure you're getting up and doing the work every day. What are you doing to keep alignment with that vision? Because as long as you do that, you need to get time out of the mindset. It's fascinating that, here's just something else. I'm going to do a full podcast on this, but it was just something that came to mind. I was reading about Elon Musk, and he was talking about he wanted to nuke Mars, the poles of Mars, so that it can create a massive greenhouse to, eventually over time, be able to, have humans live there. And I thought it was fascinating because I'm going, time is just is an element that was created by humans to organize us in a way to live life, age and all that. Because before time, what was old? The only thing that considered to be old was experiences. And that's just my opinion. But, but think about this for a second. If you move to Mars, what's time? Does time change? Do you live longer now? Do you live less in years? How's that all work? And so it's this construct that we've created. And I think personally, if we just get rid of time and set your vision and just do the work that you need to do, you'll eventually get there. A lot of times, and this was happening in my life, is I would set goals and set them at a certain time. And I knew that I can create anything I desire, right? Universal laws, I've studied them, I know how they work. And when I kept hitting bumps along the road, and I hit massive walls many times. And it was one of those things where in my life, I had to realize that maybe, just maybe, because I'm trying to take control of everything, right? Humans like control. Just maybe, I'm not trusting enough in the universe. I'm thinking I need to control and do the work. And it came a point in my life where I let go. I let go of all the controls. I held on to a vision. I looked at all my multiple visions I have in my life, and I said, this is what I'm going to trust in. And I said, God, universal law, Allah, all intelligence, prime director, creator, you name it. I said, you guide and align me in the way when I'm ready. I would just continue to do the work that I need to do every single day. And I know that eventually it will align and the vision will come true. And I have full faith that this will happen. But I will continue to do the work that I need to do so that I make sure that I'm always being in alignment and moving towards that vision and make sure I continue to expand and grow. And I think that's where in my life I became less stressed. I didn't worry anymore. I knew the universe was taking care of me. I didn't have to worry about, in business or in life or in things. I just knew I had to show up every day. And I knew as long as I showed up every day, I was doing the work to get closer to where I had to get to. And the beautiful thing is now, after practicing this for a couple of years, where I totally have let go, it's been such a blissful experience. And the results are either at the point of where I expected to get them to be or even better, even faster, which is kind of cool. And so that is the importance of vision. You got to trust in your vision. You got to know the universe is working for you. It's always there to support you every step of the way. But focus on your vision. Remember, what you see in the mind's eye is what the eyes will see in reality. So what that means is what you will create. Everything comes from thought. Thought is matter. We've been able to prove that thought is matter. So you have to have this visualization, your thoughts and emotions tied to it, which gives it an energy. It gives it a picture for the universe to see. Once the universe can see it, and you keep sharing it with it, it can get into a crystal form, crystal vision. When it's crystal clear to the universe, it makes it easier and easier to align with you. And then you want to make sure that once you get this grand vision, you want to be clarity with it, right? Crystal clear. And that means simplicity. So that means saying it in 30 to 60 seconds or putting it in a paragraph and being that crystal clear with your life's vision. Other ways to think of your vision is your legacy, things you want to be remembered as, things that you want to have someone say in your eulogy. All these play a role when it comes to your vision of what you want to create for your life. So any questions you have, if you need some support on this, please let us know. You can email me at drvic@empoweryourrally.com. Check out, you can also see it in the show notes as we have all that information there. You can hit direct DM me at any of the social medias that we have available on there. And as always, I appreciate you tuning in, appreciate you tuning live. You can meet us every Tuesday morning at 7 a.m. Central Time on the Empowered Living with Dr. Vic private page on Facebook. We share the recording on YouTube, and then also it's in the episode as you're listening to now. So anywho, want to appreciate you guys listening in this week. And as always, keep rocking and rolling.